If you have let's just be real, piss poor attitude, but you want to elevate in life, you probably need a attitude makeover. That's what we are giving you on this podcast today. Now, I'm not saying that your attitude all day, every day, and twice on Sunday is bad, but you might have some attitude issues in some areas that you need to improve on that is going to elevate you in areas that you want to be successful in, and we're going to help you out today. I'm Rickey Jasper, and this is the Chasing a Greater Vision podcast. After getting laid off 2 times in 6 months, I realized I had to be chasing a greater vision in my life. I had to be walking into my calling. I spent time building up a successful fitness apparel business, and then now stepping back in front of camera to talk, to speak more, to hopefully inspire you to chase a greater vision in your life. And my goal with this podcast is for us to do it together. So let's make it happen. What's going on, and welcome back to the Chasing a Greater Vision podcast. I'm your host, Rickey Jasper. Today is going to be a fun one. This is an attitude makeover video, attitude makeover podcast video, audio video, wherever you're listening to it. The one thing that I've realized in my life is my attitude really affects a lot of stuff, right? I might have the skills, I might, have the will, but if my attitude is not right, if it's piss poor, if I'm making people unhappy by how I'm presenting myself because I'm in my feelings of some way, shape, or form, it affects where I'm trying to go. It affects how high I can rise in my career. It affects, the vibe around my relationship. You really want to get your attitude right and get it in line, and especially when you hit stress points. We're going to dive into that today. So our first segment is our head and heart hits. This is something that hit me in the head, made me think logically, something that hit me in the heart, made me feel a certain way. Today's quote is by Zig Zigler. It says, "Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude." Now, we've all heard that. I'm sure you've heard that when you were young, and it's just like this saying that you just say, and you just kind of, it's kind of like a childish saying, but it's very deep and it's very real. Where it hit me in the head was your attitude, not your aptitude. We always think that our skills are going to be the thing that elevates us. Our skills and our talents are going to be the thing that really opens up a lot of doors, and to an extent they can. But when those doors are opened, your skill will open doors. Even in the Bible, it says, your gifts will make room for you. I hope it says that in the Bible, so don't quote me on this. I'm not a preacher, but I got faith. But your gifts will make room for you. So they will make room for you, but when you get in those rooms, and once it makes room for you, what can keep you in those rooms? Because once you're in there, let's say somebody else has the same skill, but they have a better attitude and they're easier to work with, they're going to be given more opportunities, and you might get kicked out of those rooms because your attitude can't keep you in places that you're supposed to be in. So it's your attitude. And what hit me in the heart was I look back at my life and I look at areas that I did not have the best attitude, and I didn't get what I needed or wanted to out of situations. I alienated people. I pissed people off. I pushed people away. And it was because of my attitude. It wasn't because I didn't have the skill. It wasn't because I was deficient in areas. It was my attitude about things. Either I was too egotistical. Either I, was too negative. Either I thought I knew everything and wanted to control and direct everything. And it affected relationships. It affected jobs. It affected so many, aspects and silos of my life. And it was my attitude. Because I'm telling you, I felt like my skill, cool, I'm good. I'm competent enough. But it was my attitude. So where do you want to soar? Where do you want to improve in? What's your attitude towards it? What's your attitude towards your people, the people around you? What's your attitude towards your day-to-day? Are you waking up and, just having a depressed mindset and always feeling bad, always talking bad, always complaining, and not realizing how much stress and strain that puts on other people, or how much people really don't want to be around you, and they're just like, you're just here because of your skill. And once we find somebody who has a better attitude and has the same skill, that will change where you're at. And you also see it where people who don't have the best skill, but they have the best attitude, they have the best will to win, they have the best, outlook. And you're like, I don't care that they don't have the skill. Their attitude is so right and so on point that we're going to put them in a position and we are going to grow them. We're going to give them opportunities based on their attitude, based on their outlook. If you think of that and you think of areas that maybe you're that person, you've gotten an opportunity because you had the best attitude. You didn't have the skill. You didn't have the credentials. You didn't have the diploma, the piece of paper, the master's degree, the doctorate to be in that room. But because of your attitude, they put you there because you instilled something in them that somebody with the skill didn't have, and they didn't have the attitude to keep them in that room. So If you are not that person and you're struggling with it, there is hope. There's always hope. We're humans. We can learn, adapt, change, be malleable to areas in areas that are going to be good for us. I'm going to help with a 3-step attitude makeover. It's a makeover, so we're going to do it together. Number 1 in our tips and tricks segment is managing stress. And so, if you're new here, our tips and tricks segment are practical tips that help you throughout your day-to-day that are not just pie in the sky things that we just talk hypothetically. No, these are things that you can actually do. These are things that I've learned, have learned, am learning, and will continue to learn as I go through. So our first tip is manage stress. The reason why you want to manage your stress is because, and I have a note about this, I said, you can know what to do, but your stress response can push people away. In the past, I was super stressed out with a lot of things. I was working a tech job. I was running an apparel company. And those two things, the tech job was, paying for my rent and then paying for, some of the apparel expenses. The apparel expenses, as we grew, we got more expenses. We made more revenue, but we hired more people. And it was like kind of, even like, you kind of breaking even. You're like, man, what is going on? And I'm sitting back and I'm like, I'm kind of barely making enough to just kind of keep the lights on type of thing. My brother, he is our content lead, day to day with all of that. And I was consistently stressed about the state of the business. I was consistently stressed. And because him and I had a closer relationship, it's like, you can't divorce me as a brother, right? Like we're always going to be brothers, even if we're not talking. So because of that, he probably took the brunt of the negativity the most, right? Because I'm like, I can say what I want, do what I want. You're still going to be my brother type of thing. There was that like level of a bond, but there were a few things that, slipped on his end. And I really, really dug into him harder than I should have on a consistent basis about it. And it wasn't because of what he had done or failed to do or didn't do. Because at the end of the day, the work got done. We got done on time. Nothing was impacted. But I was so stressed out and my stress level was so high that I was responding, reacting so much harsher to other people. And so when you have that stress and you're not managing it, it's going to affect your attitude. It's going to affect how you're around other people. How do you manage stress practically? For me, how I manage stress is I go work out. I move my body. I get myself out of an area that is stressful and tense. And sometimes your work is going to be stressful. Sometimes your home life is going to be stressful. Sometimes you're just going to be in tense situations because that's the phase and season of life you're in. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. No, it's a real thing. We live in it on a daily basis. But finding little things to change that, to almost recalibrate yourself is going to be huge. I had to make sure that I was spending time away from the business, spending time working out, spending time outside without my phone, where I wasn't just looking at my phone and be like, I'm outside taking a walk with my dog, but I'm still connected. The more that you manage your stress, the calmer you'll feel. The calmer you'll feel, the better you'll react and respond to other people. So you're going to want to do that. That's the first way to having a better attitude. The second way is get an optimistic circle. This is about to be a fun one. No, but get an optimistic circle. What I've learned, and big shout out to my fiance, Carly. She is the most positive, optimistic, like fun-loving person. Like I will sit and I will look at the day and everything that I have involved and all the stresses and so on and so forth. And she's the one to be like, babe, but you're doing a great job. And look at all of the opportunities that you've had because you've worked so hard to get all of this on your plate. That is kind of stressing you out because she's seen me in past where I'm like, I haven't had a job. I've been looking for a job. Nothing was shaking and all of that. So she's seen these areas and she's able to have a conversation with me and be like, but you can still be optimistic in this because look at the alternative. And, we've all seen relationships where you're with, and I'm talking about like romantic relationships where you've been pessimistic and you've pulled the other person down, right? There's times where in my relationship with Carly, it's like she'll be having a great day and I will see it. This is like what the different side of the same coin to that story that I just told about Carly being so positive. I will see the negative in something and she'll be having a great day and she'll be slightly pulled down, trying to pull me up, right? So she's trying to pull me up, but in doing so, I'm getting pulled up at the cost of her being pulled down. So, and it's not that everything is always going to be, sunshine and rainbows, but be cognizant of, if you're the pessimistic person, or if you're being pessimistic, how you pull other people down. If you're in rooms where you want to elevate, you want to have a higher altitude, but your people are up here soaring and you're pulling people down, you're a weight on them, that doesn't help. And also notice the people that you really want to be around, people that will pull you up. You want to become that person. So getting an optimistic circle is great because you end up getting those traits. In being with Carly, I have gained so many more optimistic traits. We've all seen people, like I said, go back to this, in relationships that they're with people who are not optimistic, and they're such an optimistic person. And over time, year after year, you see them, you're like, what is happening? What is atrophied? And it's like, well, if you're around that type of person, those type of people consistently, it's gonna rub off at some point in time. You're gonna jump in water, you're gonna get wet. It's going to happen. So, find an optimistic circle. Ask yourself the question, who's around me? Is this person, speaking life into my situation? Is this person really talking positive about things? And not even just me. Is this person talking optimistically about their life, or are they always complaining about themselves and their life when they're around you? That's the other thing. If someone's always complaining, and even if you're optimistic and everything, over time, you just kind of get stuck in talking about things to complain about. That doesn't help. That doesn't help move the dial forward. You can have the best aptitude, you can have the best skills, knowledge, gifts, talents, and abilities, but your attitude is overall going to suffer because you're just sitting in the suck with someone who chooses to be there. You got to think about that. So get an optimistic circle, really lock in on those people, and do your best to speak positively to those people. Do your best to speak positively to yourself. And you can be realistic. Not everything is going to be positive, but trying to find the silver lining is going to be a skill and a talent that is going to help in any room that you're in, because not everybody has that. I venture to say most people do not have that, and it's desperately needed now, and especially today's society with all the things that we're going through with depression, anxiety, all of the byproducts, the bad byproducts that are happening because of that. Number 3, develop self-awareness. What areas are you not being honest with yourself in? What areas do you know that you need to improve? For me, I had to take an honest assessment of myself in how I was responding to my fiance in earlier years. Was I coming in and was I being a kind person, or was I just taking the day stress and putting it out on her and not being present and being like, well, I'm just taking this person for granted, so on and so forth. Being self-aware is a great thing, because it's not saying, oh, I'm self-aware and that means I'm always reacting the right way. No, there are times right now to this day where I'm like, I still don't react and respond the best way. But what I do is, because I know when stress moments hit or where I'm feeling a certain way, I can tell Carly straight up, hey, this is a rough day because this, and this happened. This is what I'm feeling. So if I come off a little bit short, this is what it's about. I'm self-aware enough to know, hey, I'm going to address this head on and let you know it's not about you. I'm not going to take it out on you. But if you notice something, here's what it's about, right? So whatever your self-awareness is in areas that your attitude is not helping you, you have an ability to improve that. You have an ability to be honest with yourself, with other people around you, to attack things head on. I think now we can really just think that we're, the most perfect beings, or that we have no wrong, or that everybody else is wrong. We blame everybody else and everything else should be different and life should be catered to me. That's not life. Having self-awareness says, okay, I have my shortcomings. I have my deficiencies. I have areas that I really got to improve on, and that I'm not perfect in, that I probably will never be perfect in, but I'm trying. And I'm able to address that head on with the people around me that I care about, and the people around me that are going to help me elevate, that want me to elevate, that is going to expand my territory, help me soar. And that has nothing to do with what I know, has nothing to do with the skill set, and nothing to do with a God-given gift. It's nothing to do with my education, but it's just with my attitude and outlook. If you're self-aware and you're honest with yourself, you have an ability to help yourself change in that area. And it doesn't matter what other people are doing that are outside of your circle. They can say whatever they want about you. They can do whatever they want, but you being self-aware is the power that you have within yourself, and it's the control that you can take back and the power that you can take back to respond to everything that's happening. To kind of wrap this up for the attitude makeover, number one, manage your stress. If you're stressed out, you might have a stress response. And if you haven't grown through how to really manage a stress response, you are going to respond in a stressful manner, which might throw some people off. So manage your stress. The minute you bring that down, the more and the better opportunity you have to respond in a better way and to respond with a better attitude, which is going to help elevate you. Number two is get an optimistic circle. Think of people as, what I wrote down here, I said they can either, they're either weights or wings. And if you kind of categorize people like that respectfully, are people weights, they're bringing you down, or are they wings? You help them pull you up. Find the people who are going to be the wings that are going to help you fly, help give you some wings so you can help other people fly. And number three, develop self-awareness. It's the awareness of yourself. It's the awareness of your shortcomings. It's being open to other people about your shortcomings and that you're aware of them, because nobody is expecting you to be perfect. But the best thing is when you can be aware and say, I'm not the best here, but I'm working on it. People can live with that. And people respect you for owning that head up. And that is going to be something that is completely outside of what your aptitude is. And it's your attitude for how you want to improve. And it's your attitude for how you want to walk through life and treat the people around you. Our word of the day, word of the week, whenever you see this word, however you want to stretch it, is makeover. Now, this isn't Project Runway. This isn't I don't even know if that's a makeover show, but this isn't a makeover show, but it's an attitude makeover. It's making over it's not something that we're just making up. It's making over, which means that you have this within you. You have an attitude that's there. You can make it over by doing something better with it, by improving it. It's recognizing that we all have attitude and we all probably have some areas that our attitude can be better at. So let's identify those areas and let's make it over. Let's revamp it, make it over, make it better, make it more, not just digestible to other people just to get somewhere, but to actually have positive outcomes that are meaningful. So I hope that this message helped you. We can do this together. I always say that because I mean it. We have areas that we just have to improve in. And I say have to because I mean it. In order for our society to continue to grow and for people to feel love and for people to feel helped and supported, there are things that we can slightly improve on a daily basis. I think having a correct attitude is going to be something that's huge, because the other thing too is your attitude is going to help other people around you. If this is a trickle effect and it's a domino effect, and you have a better attitude, that means other people have a better attitude around you, and it just dominoes. We can make some real change and real difference in this world, and you can make a whole lot of change in your life. So I hope this message helped, and I will see you next time. Thank you all so much for watching the Chasing a Greater Vision podcast. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, send it to friends, use a carrier pigeon, do whatever you have to do. We hope that this inspires you to chase your greater vision in your life and for us to continually and consistently do it together.